This week is International Coaching Week, and we want to share with you our experience of reciprocal coaching. Hi, I'm Kieran Murphy, and I work as a leadership development facilitator.
And hi, I'm Deirdre Coghlan Murray, and I work as an executive coach and managing director of a HR organisation.
So over the last year, Deirdre, we've both been coaching each other. So I think we've been meeting every 4 weeks, and the arrangement has been you'd coach me for about 45 minutes, then we take a break, and then I'd coach you for about 45 minutes. What's been the experience or been the value to you of the coaching?
Do you know, I've thought about this, and I was instantly reminded that the most valuable part for me was actually the space that it created for myself. Once every 4 weeks for 2 hours, because whilst I was coaching with you, Kieran, for 1 hour of that, the other hour of it was very much on me time. So it was really the space that created to allow me to reflect, just to step outside of the everyday that was going on at the time over the last year, which has been pretty challenging in lots of ways. And there was so much that came about out of that was sort of quite a surprise. So I'll share obviously more, Kieran, but they're the initial things that I think that I really got from it. What about you? What struck you as being the value that you've been getting from this coaching?
Yeah, so it's been something similar for me. So I really valued the space that it gave me, and it gave me kind of headspace. It gave me time to think. It gave me time to kind of dig around in my lived experience and it wasn't, for me, it wasn't just around, well, it was about everything. So it was about living through COVID. It was trying to, work my business and reconfigure my business through COVID. It was some personal stuff. So I really loved the space, the chance to stop, to think, to talk. And what I liked around the way you worked with me was that, like, I like to work in images and metaphors and things like that. So it was a great opportunity to have the questions that you were asking me was really helping me to see things and get in touch with things and explore things that I wouldn't have been able to do on my own. So yes, I thought it was a really important space over the last year.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that came to mind for me was just about space. It felt like it was a little bit of a break, so I have this vision, and again, I'm now talking in metaphors, as we often would in coaching, but it's almost if you're on a mountain walk, and you're exhausted, and you get to a stage and there is an area where you can pull over and actually just stop and breathe, catch your breath again. And when you do that, you tend to stop and look out, and you see so much around that you may not have seen if you were just continuing on this trail, up this this mountain. So I found, for me, it really gave me that opportunity to be able to sort of look out, almost like have that helicopter view of what's going on for yourself, in whatever aspect of your life, whether that's your career, your personal life, anything that's going on for you. It really gave that space to be able to do that. And I think what I really valued about it and value about it is the sense that you are absolutely being listened to in a very supportive, encouraging way. Um, and that is very freeing, in terms of, for me, I know that released some creativity. I got lots of new ideas, was able to think about, different approaches that I might want to take to things, whether that was, in my business, even in my own coaching practice. So I learned an awful lot about myself, throughout that process, and it really helped to create that space and the momentum, to be looking forward to that. So it sort of became a situation where, even between those coaching sessions, I was subconsciously starting to think about the coaching sessions and what I would want to bring to that and what I might want to focus on at that coaching session. So I was starting to develop this lovely habit, which is a reflective habit, and I found that really useful. I don't know if you found that helpful.
Yeah, because as you're talking there, I'm remembering it. So there was times when, yeah, I'd have a very clear issue and I'd say, okay, I want to bring this to coaching. There were a couple of times when I hadn't got an idea and I'd just come in and say, no, I haven't got a specific thing to focus on. But then that, I suppose, created the space to just work with whatever was current, whatever came up in the session. And I found that really, really helpful. The other thing that I'm remembering as well is that, so I'm quite a visual person. So I like to be able to take something away from a coaching session and create a PowerPoint slide, just one slide with images and words. So regularly after our session, I would open up a PowerPoint slide and then I would select images and words, and then I'd print it off and I'd stick it on my notice board here in my home. So it was a visual reminder to me, to the work we'd done and to the insight that I'd got. Because a lot of the content that we focused on was around my business and surviving through COVID, or making changes through COVID, and surviving. Because as I reflect back on it now, in early 2020, all my business was face-to-face. All of it was through word of mouth. And I wasn't proactive in terms of reaching out to either, current clients, former clients, or potential clients. So I didn't do any kind of newsletters and things like that. So it was quite a significant challenge for me to figure out how was my business going to survive. So what I really appreciated about the coaching sessions, it was a chance for me to, get in touch with my creativity, understand what was getting in my way. So things like negative internal voices, which were kind of holding me back. It was a great space to get a handle on those and to hear the voice, but not to be controlled by the voice, and then to be energized. So I got lots of insight. And when I get an insight, I get really energized. And when I get energized, then I forward momentum. So I found it really, really helpful through the last 14 months.
And it was wonderful. And I guess, the fact that it was reciprocal also really helped. But actually, there was something about the level of trust and reliability that was built up throughout that period of time, as well, knowing that there was somebody who wasn't judging you, who was absolutely supportive, who was giving you that space. And the sense, from a reciprocal point of view, the sense that it was very equal. So there was an equality piece that was there that I really valued, and that I think helped me to bring the best of myself to coaching in both ways. One, as the person who is being coached, and the other as the person who is actually coaching and listening, in that situation. I'm smiling when you talk about, the physical reminders, or the tangible reminders, because when I was setting up for this meeting, and we know when we're in Zoom meetings, we're supposed to, watch your background and make sure you can't see the wine rack over here too much and whatever else. I moved a piece that sits on my one of my bookcases here all the time, which is a piece from one of our coaching sessions, which was about sort of exploring my own strengths and what I needed to really draw on during this whole COVID pandemic period. And if I look around my room here, I also have lots of notes up around the place and little reminders, that just triggers for me to remember and to recall things that I promised myself I'd do, or things that I learned, or that I just noticed during the coaching sessions that we had. So that's been wonderful, and very much appreciated.
Yeah. The other thing that strikes me is that because we both work as coaches, it's great to be on the to being coached. And even though I've been working as a coach for years, it illustrates for me the power of coaching. It works. It really, really worked for me. It gave me that space. It gave me a chance to reflect on stuff, as you said, kind of see things from a different perspective, and to be energized and to come away with action. So it reaffirms for me the value of coaching.
Yeah, and I think, and that is the real value, that, and I always get these sayings wrong, but if you want to, I'm going to say, if you want to know me, come live with me, and I don't mean that respect, but that idea of walk in my shoes.
Yeah.
So there is something about being coached, you know, and recognizing that it is an ongoing learning journey, that you are always developing, and whether you're being coached or whether you are coaching, that it's always a learning journey. And I think that's the brilliance of it, actually. So it's sort of never ending, and that doesn't mean that you don't get, you know, phases or moments where you feel a sense of completion about things, because you really do. But you look forward to what's next. You know, what else am I going to discover, or learn about myself, or realize that is actually really important for me. And it's quite and I mean it in a positive way, it's quite a selfish space. So it really is space just for you. And I certainly found, you know, throughout the last, like, almost it's over a year, you know, now, it has been so valuable to have that space that is just your space. It felt a little bit like a sort of a sanctuary. And even to the extent that, you know, I having done a lot of work on the thinking environment and the importance of place, in coaching, and how do we replicate that when we're working, you know, together remotely, in coaching, was about sort of the importance of setting up the environment. And it was sort of lovely for me to have this nearly ritual that I would go through prior to a coaching session, with you, Kieran, where I would actually set up my space, so that I was creating a space that was respectful to you and nice for you to be in remotely, but also that it was really important for me to have that space. And I always made sure that when I was coaching, and I suppose this aligns with some of the maybe the recommendations that I make to people when I'm coaching with them, I try and recommend that they move away from their usual desk that they might work at. You know, so when I'm being coached or when I'm coaching, I'm always move away from the desk that I sit at when I'm doing most of my work. So it just highlighted for me, how you can do that, and it doesn't have to be very difficult, but that it's space and place, and the value that both of those have really added. That's been great to experience.
So thanks very much, Deirdre, for creating and holding that space for me for the last 14 months now. Well, 15 months actually. The time is continuing. I really appreciate it. So thank you very much.
I think that's reciprocated. So thank you, Kieran. Very much appreciated. Really value it.